New York and on the new Hot 97 app. Ebro in the morning on Hot 97.
Beautiful Laura Styles, Rosenberg, we are here. Shining Culture, hit that classic Eddie Murphy.
You cannot say filth, flying filth in front of people. And I never said no filth, flying filth. Because you know what I'm talking about. I can't use the type of language that you use, but you know what I mean when I say filth, flying filth. And I never said no filth, flying filth, and I don't know what you're talking about. I'm offended that you call you. And that's when Bill got pissed and said, that's what I'm talking about. You cannot say in front of people. And I got mad, because he thought that was my whole act. Like I just walked out on the stage and cursed and left. And I managed to stick in some jokes between the curses. You couldn't give no curse show or walk out and say, hey, felt farm, motherfucker, snot and good night. Good night, suck my bye-bye. I was pissed off. I was so mad, I called Richard Pryor's house up and said, yo, Richard, Bill Cosby just called me up and told me I was too dirty. And Richard said, the next time motherfucker call, tell him I said, suck my I don't give a whatever the make the people laugh, say that I said, do the people laugh when you say what you say? I said, yes. He said, do you get paid? I said, yes. He said, well, tell Bill. I said, have a Coke and a smile and shut the up.
Classic.
Now,
Classic.
I play that because in that same Raw stand-up, there's homophobic jokes about gays in San Francisco. In his Delirious stand-up, there was jokes about, who was it? Mr. T and
The Honeymooners.
Ralph Cramden. Hamana. And now Eddie Murphy is out here with his Dolomite movie about to drop, where he plays Rudy Ray Moore, apologizing, saying that those jokes of the past were ignorant and stupid, and he was young, and his new stand-up will be very, very, very different. And so I want to go around the room, and I want to ask, do you guys like Eddie Murphy apologizing for his classic stand-ups from a while back? Let's go to Shiny Culture.
I mean, it's okay to say that, you were immature and that you didn't know, because what you don't know, you don't know. And at the time, he was speaking freely. But I do like the new stance of like a Dave Chappelle and some of the other comedians saying that, look, when they're on that stage trying to make jokes and make people laugh, that they want to be able to do so without certain types of censorship, because the political correctness of comedy at this point is making everything not funny.
But do you like Eddie Murphy apologizing?
I mean, I'm cool with it. You made a mistake, apologize.
Laura Styles?
I mean, it doesn't bother me. It's okay for people to say, like, yo, back then my mindset was somewhere else. I thought certain things were okay. They were socially, like, they weren't as, people were saying things like this more freely without repercussions. Sometimes people don't know better.
Right.
So it doesn't bother me. Like, I'm okay with it.
Rosenberg?
Well, he didn't quite apologize. He said that he was young, had a broken heart, and he was kind of an a-hole. And they said that Raw is, quote, a bit much, my goodness. But he had already apologized for a lot of this stuff in 1996.
Right, because it was a blow-up back then.
So in 96 it came up, and he apologized for it then. I will say this. When I used to listen to Raw and Delirious literally when I was in like a senior in college. I listened to it every day to go to bed. Like I listened to it constantly. And now when I go back and listen to those parts, it definitely makes me cringe. Like it is,
whoa.
It is way over the top. Like you're like, okay, my man, woof. What were you dealing with at that time? So I think it's good that he referenced it. Listen, we have to be consistent, because if everyone wants to say, I don't think we should judge comedians, blah, 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 then
We'll speak to Shani.
Well, Shani was representing what a lot of people feel.
Yeah, that's what I keep reading.
Then you need to be able to keep that same energy if it was to be a white comedian who gets up and makes jokes about black people.
Absolutely.
So everyone needs to keep that same energy across the board. We can't have separate rules about like, well, it's funny if it's about transgender people or gay people, but if people do it about black people, well, now that's offensive.
Right.
We have to be like, and I agree with Shani. I think unless a comedian has showed like this is just who they are in real life. There's no need to go dissecting every word of their act to determine if they're.
Right. If they're on stage yelling, I hate.
Well, the Michael
or
Richards thing
then
is a
it's-
very separate thing,
then
right?
it's
He
different.
lost his mind and started screaming
Right,
racial
but I think what
epithets
you
at someone
guys
in
are
the crowd.
looking past is also people having done entertainment of the past and it being brought up. I mean, you're talking Raw was 20 years ago?
35
35
Yeah,
years?
35
80s.
years ago?
or more, yeah.
Raw
Yeah.
or Delirious?
No, Raw was 87.
They were both a long time ago.
Wow.
I remember being a little kid and listening to him.
Yo, I went to the movie theater to see Raw.
Yeah,
Wow.
in 1987.
And I wasn't supposed to be there.
That's 32 years ago, yeah.
Right. So he's the reason this is happening and he's apologizing yet again is because he's got new material out, and we live in a world where old material, if you've been entertaining long enough, gets brought up and thrown into your face.
Right.
And they want to get out in front of this as he re-enters the spotlight.
And I also think he doesn't want people to expect the same thing.
I think it's that too.
You know?
Absolutely.
So he's like, yo, I have a lifetime
Which is why I
of
asked the
experience to pull
question. Do you like him apologizing? Because it goes into like since Raw and Delirious, how much content has Eddie Murphy given the world?
Not in stand-up, nothing.
Nothing.
Well, even right now we haven't got stand up from him. We're
Right.
just getting Dolomite.
Right.
Right. So,
But he wants to do stand-up again, too.
he said that on the Cars Coffee Seinfeld thing. What's it called?
Comedians and cars getting
There you go. So I just asked if you guys like it because it does play into people apologizing for things they did a long time ago.
people are
Because
scared.
we're seeing that from politicians, right? People are holding politicians to account, blackface and decisions that they made a long time ago. People are like, yo, out of office. That's going on in Canada right now with the president who's like, yeah, I dressed up in blackface 1, 2, I thought it was funny 3, 4 times.
Crazy.
Right? And we weren't sympathetic to that either. And people thought that was funny when they probably did it. And
But he's not a comedian. He's a politician.
Right.
Eddie's a comedian. So I think it's fine. Listen, it's all annoying. Do I think it's annoying? We all know it existed. He definitely knows it's inappropriate now, wouldn't do it again. Right. So, do I think it's a little, of course, now you have to go through the requisite apology. Then I think it's annoying and silly. If you just want to be honest about what America was in 1981 and 1987 or 83 and 87.
Loose.
Everyone was saying homophobic stuff all the time.
Yeah.
Even people who were open-minded and not anti-gay at all were using words that they shouldn't
well, I
use.
think the
was a
conversation is really about coming to terms and listening to people who are offended by things and taking that into account and being okay. Like, oh, okay, that offends you. All right, we're going to pivot because you're a part of our greater community.
Yes.
Right? Which a lot of people don't want to do that work to make the pivot because it infringes on them being loose. Now they have to do extra work and they don't want to do the
And they have
extra
to
work.
acknowledge that they did something that maybe wasn't cool.
Right. And now with Eddie Murphy coming with his movie Dolomite, people are going to bring up these old classic audio clips and relive them.
And that part does annoy me because it's like you didn't know what was in Raw and Delirious. Come on, we all know what's in it.
No, we all don't.
But that's
35 years. There's going to be a 20-year-old, 25-year-old right now. And we brought this up off the air earlier. Social media makes things relevant again and brings up emotions that you didn't hear from when it was relevant the first time. That's why people get so mad when an old tweet gets brought up or whatever, because now it's brought to the forefront how you felt at a different time. And it's okay to apologize. It is okay to be like, yo, how I felt right there was whack, man. I was whack. Or I've grown. I'm a different person. All that's clean and cool. You could still go watch Raw and Delirious as a fan and enjoy whatever you want to enjoy.
Yeah, exactly.
If that's what you want to do.
Apologizing for things is advanced. That's why I think a lot of people aren't ready for it too, because that's an advanced way of being. If you're like, oh, I made you feel that way.
Evolved.
I'm sorry. That's a better way of putting it. It's an evolved way of being.
For artists too, it's because of the cancel culture as well. They know they have to get in front of this politically correct wheel in order to not be canceled. And
Well, I tell
potentially
you what,
affect their
ladies
money.
and gentlemen, what you
Which we didn't
probably
have.
won't be able to do because he's financially good for generations is cancel Eddie Murphy.
Right.
Yeah,
He's
I
not
doubt
doing
that.
this because he's worried that all of a sudden he's going to be erased from history.
But not
Yeah,
erased.
but he's
but
investing time and energy into a new project that he
No,
doesn't want
he-
people to
the
boycott based
job-
off of old feelings.
That's true.
No, I don't believe that either. I believe he legitimately wants to make people happy. And he wants to come back and he wants to.
You don't think that there was any business part of this? Like
There's
the
a business
publicist who came up with this was
Yeah.
like, hey, You're about to go on a run.
I think
here.
it was brought up, but it's Eddie Murphy. He could have absolutely been like, look, Kevin Hart, as much as he ran around and apologized, was still like, yo, I don't want to do the Oscars, and that's Kevin Hart. This is Eddie Murphy. He could have been like, yo, I apologize in 1996.
But he saw how that didn't work for Kevin Hart.
Right.
He just saw how that literally.
It's
That is probably specifically
Yeah.
the reason that this played out that way. Is because of Kevin Hart's experience, where he's like, "Damn, Kevin Hart apologized for years. It didn't do enough."
It's a smart business move in this day and age to apologize.
And I believe he means it.
I think he means it, though.
But it
I don't
could be
think
both.
it's. It could be both. But I honestly believe that Eddie Murphy doesn't have to apologize if he doesn't want to. And like you pointed out earlier, he didn't even actually apologize. He just said those jokes were ignorant. I'm not going to be doing that again.
Yeah.
I was young and stupid.
Yeah, he just doesn't want you to expect the same ish this time around when he comes with his new material.